Getting multiple reference images in Flux Kontext Dev to work together is tough, but when it clicks, it's pretty awesome. I've been testing different ways to guide it without losing control of the output. It's all about the prompts, weight, and structure. Tiny changes make a huge difference. In this video, I'll go through what's working for me and go through the entire workflow. So let's get into it. Okay, first thing you need to do is to make sure you have all the different models. So just go to the Flux Kontext Dev page on ComfyUI and download all the models that they have listed here. Since I only have 8 gigs of VRAM, I'm using the FP8 scaled diffusion model. Then the others are the standard ones that were given on the last video. Once you have all the models, make sure you put them in the right directories as specified here. Okay, now we can go through the setup of the workflow. This one's a little bit different than the one I used in the last video. There's only a couple of changes and I'll go through those. If we start with the model loader, the main difference is I've disabled the GGUF. You can turn it back on if you want, but I found that the FP8 scaled is a little bit quicker. And because we're not using the Turbo Alpha LoRa, it's easier to just use the FP8 scaled instead of the GGUF. Both of those generally won't hit the limit for 8 gigs of VRAM. Then down below, we still have the same dual clip loader and the load VAE. Up at the top, it's pretty similar. I still have the speedups that are here, but if you don't have them, you can go ahead and disable them like last time, but I'll keep these ones enabled. Now we move down to the image loader. I've kept this workflow pretty basic, so it's just two images that are being loaded. Load image 1, load image 2. They both go through an image stitch, so that creates one image for Flux Kontext to work on and input into the latent. The order here is quite important, I think. The first image usually takes precedence on just how much detail or how much the prompt follows. So generally put your output intended image on image 1 and then maybe your reference on image 2. As you're using it, and if it doesn't work, just feel free to swap them around. After the two images have been concatenated, it goes through the Flux Kontext image scale, so it scales it to the size that context can work with, and you'll end up with an output similar to this. So it's a smaller stitch, the images get smaller, so it gets stitched into a wide version if you have two portrait ones, or an extra wide if you're working with square images to start with. This will cause problems on the output if you don't fix the sizing. So we'll do that afterwards, and I'll get into that in a second. And next we have the prompt. The way we phrase it is quite important and how Flux Kontext seems to understand what you're talking about. So I'll go through some of the structures I've been using that seems to give the best results. So here, when we move up, you'll see that the image and the prompt get loaded into the reference latent, and then all of that gets fed into the Flux guidance. Here I've made a change as well. I've gone from 2.5 to 2. 2 seems to remove a lot of the plastic look from the general output. So I've stuck with 2. It doesn't seem to affect the prompt or the output in detail or anything in any way. So I've usually stuck with 2. If it's not working, you can go back to 2.5. Usually I switch between the two to see which one's a little bit better. And then finally, we have an extra node that I've added here as well, the empty SD3 latent image. This is important for the final output. Because the reference image gets stretched wide due to two images being concatenated together, you need to tell the K sampler to make it the same size as you want your starting image again. So here I've set the image to 832 by 1248 to make it turn into a portrait size image instead. If you don't do this, context seems to get confused and it won't know how to generate like a single person when you have two people, or if it's too wide, it'll start adding extra things to it. So this is one of the most important steps. The resolution here is also quite important. There's a listing of accepted sizes that context uses or prefers. 832 by 1248 is the one I use for portrait, and that's the one you get if you fed a portrait into the Flux Kontext image scale, and it seems to be the one that it defaults to if it's just doing the resize on its own. 1024 by 1024 for a square also works well, and then the opposite, 1248 by 832 if you want a wide landscape. So with that, all of that's fed into the K sampler, just like before. Your model, the positive, negative, and then your new latent image size. Because I'm not using Turbo Alpha LoRa, I've switched the steps back to 20. Everything else is the same. CFG1, Euler, simple, and denoise at 1. So with the workflow covered, let's go over some of the prompts and outputs. Okay, for the first image, I put in two reference images. And then the prompt was remove the man from the scene and make the woman in white wear the black shirt with logo. Keep the style and logo of the black shirt the same. Keep the woman's face and pose the same. So there's a few things here within the prompt. All of the prompting is based off of the guide that Black Forest Labs has provided. So what I want to do is make the change and then tell it what you want to keep. What worked the best for me on this prompt was just tell the context to remove the man, which I think just leaves the shirt, and then tell it to move the shirt onto the woman. And that's kind of what I was trying to get it to do. And then obviously to try and keep the style of the shirt and the logo exactly the same. And then also the woman's pose and face to be the same as well. So for this one, it's done a pretty good job. It kept all the background. She looks quite similar, almost the same. Her pose is almost the same. And then it's moved the shirt with the logo exactly onto her body instead. For the second prompt, I'm going to try and make her wear this jacket. So this prompt will be change the scene with the woman in white so that she's wearing the brown jacket over her existing clothes. Maintain all design details of the jacket. Keep the woman's pose, composition, and color style the exact same. So here I'm trying to get it to change the scene. So changing the scene seems like it'll try and merge the two images together into one scene. That's one of the core things that I've been trying. When it doesn't know, it every time it tends to get confused, I just try and tell it to put both items into the same scene because it seems to understand that part and then try and make the changes after that from there. So here I told it to change the scene so that the woman and the jacket are kind of in the same scene and then tell it to put the jacket on top of the woman's existing clothes. That seems to work quite well. All the details were kept. Like the collar is the same, the color is the same, the zipper on the sleeve is the same, the pockets, and then her pose is pretty much kept. It's not quite the same, but it's close enough. So this was another one that ended up pretty good. Here's a third test. This one is trying to get the same person to wear the green dress. Change the scene with the woman in white so that she's wearing the dress. Maintain the style and design of the dress exactly. Keep the woman's pose, composition, and color style the exact same. So again, here I'm trying to get it to change the scene so that they're together. So it seems to have done that. It also made her wear the dress. So this time it's not on top of her existing clothes. So I didn't specify that. So now she's just wearing the dress. It didn't get it exactly the same. They've added some details here that aren't on the reference image, but some of the other parts are pretty similar. Like the top part with the shoulders and the chest area, and then the color obviously is the same. Her pose can't be the same because there's no pockets, but she's still, it looks pretty much like her, and she's standing in relatively same position. So this one, I think, if you try multiple times with different seeds, maybe you'll get a better result. Sometimes maybe it'll keep that dress without that middle part being changed. But this is really a trial and error. For the next one, it's kind of a pattern application or adding to the scene. I think these ones are a little bit easier than just changing clothes or anything like that. This one, the reference image is the same woman, and then it's a pattern, a rainbow pattern here. The prompt is add the pattern to the entire t-shirt of the woman while maintaining the woman's facial features, body shape, and pose. So it's taken that pattern, added it onto the white shirt, expanded it out to the sleeves. It's done a pretty good job. It looks a little bit fake. The lighting, I guess, is too bold. And she's also a little bit plasticky looking, but otherwise it's kept her pose relatively the same, her look relatively the same, and then added the pattern on top of the shirt. For the next one, it's a similar prompt to adding something onto the shirt. So this one is another model, and then another plush toy to add in. So add the plush toy as a logo to the woman's white shirt while keeping the woman's face, pose, and color style exactly the same. This one, because it's being added as a logo, it doesn't really have a problem with that. It seems to know how to do that quite well. So it adds that the plush toy onto the t-shirt. The face seems to have changed a little bit. The pose is still similar, and then it's also gotten a little bit plasticky. So this seems to be just kind of how context seems to work. And then for the last test, Instead of putting it on the shirt, just put the two of them into the same scene. Again, these ones seem to be quite simple for context to do. So adding items into a scene is quite easy, but changing things seems to be a little bit harder to prompt for. So this one, add the woman in white and the plush toy to the same scene. Make the woman hold the toy in front of her like she's showing the viewer. The woman is excited. Keep the details of the toy the same. Keep the woman's facial features the same. It didn't quite follow the hold it in front of her. She's just kind of holding it beside her, but otherwise, it followed it. The toy looks realistic when she's holding it, and then the face is kind of similar, just like the last time. The rest of her clothes and things are all seem okay. So hopefully that workflow and these examples help you try and make some images of your own and working with multiple images in context. It's not the easiest thing to do, and it takes a lot of trial and error. Sometimes you get good results, sometimes it's not so good. So yeah, keep trying it out, and I'll see you in the next one.